If you are a Black woman who is wanting to become more financially stable, listen to this video all the way to the end because I'm going to be sharing with you my story, how I was growing up off of my mother's $10,000 salary after my father passed away when I was 9, all the way up to being a multimillionaire in my late 20s. So, listen. Being financially stable is really not as hard as people make it out to be. I know that especially if you grew up in a poor area like myself, I grew up in South Mississippi, being in poverty, seeing it around me, then also being a minority as a Black woman, it's very easy to become discouraged. So I want to share with you what I did to take steps to get to where I am now. So my audience usually ranges from like 18 to 65. So you guys that are at any stage will be able to benefit from this some way, somehow. When I was younger in high school, I knew my mom was not going to be able to afford for me to go to college. Like, it was just kind of common knowledge for me. So I decided, I think that was my junior year of high school, I was going to search for all the scholarships that I could find. So that helped, especially if you're getting your undergraduate degree, master's, postgrad. Look for scholarships or fellowships, ways for you to be able to have your education paid for so you're not going into debt unnecessarily. There are tons of things out there. You just have to dig and do your research. If you're currently in high school, go to your counselor. If you are going for post-grad, talk to the people that are in your dean's office and see what is available. I literally left college and I actually did 5 years because I traveled and studied abroad. I had no debt. And that took me to another level versus people who graduated, but they still within 6 months of graduation had to pay all of this money back. That was a challenge for them. And of course, we can talk about making more income, doing the right, and that we'll get to that. But I think if you try your best to not get into debt so early, it will help. Now, the next thing that I did that I felt was very revolutionizing was whenever I did receive refund checks at school for scholarships, I literally budgeted over that semester. So I would have enough money to be able to last me. And that translated into becoming a teacher because I had moved to Memphis, Tennessee, and I was making about $45,000 per year working. And that at the time was a pretty tight budget. And I know some people are still making that, going into education. So I would literally write out, I found this budget planner on Pinterest and I would write out every single thing, and I still do this, that I'm going to be spending money on. And then I wrote out what I wanted to save and put away. And I really, really harped on my savings. I think that's something that is really not talked about as much because people, when they hear savings, they think it's just, oh, this robotic way of doing things. I look at savings through the lens of stacking. And stacking isn't like, oh, I need like 20, 30 racks to be able to stack. No, you only have to do as little as you want. If it's $5 a week, if it's $10 a week. And I didn't look down on myself because I was starting at such a low number. I mean, now I save way, way, way more than that every single week. But at that time, I just needed to get started. So I challenge you, set a goal of what you want to save and let it be a goal that's realistic. If you've never saved $1,000 before, why would you try to save 10? Take baby steps to build that up. And as I've shared in other videos, make sure you have an interest-bearing account. that you can utilize to be able to grow your money, whether that is a regular savings account or if you are using a high yield money market account. There are options out there without you having to actually invest. For those of you who are interested in investing, make sure you watch my other videos because I'm going to talk more deeply about that. But as I went on and I started budgeting and seeing what was happening, my savings account really grew and it allowed me to start my business. So that is another thing about becoming financially stable is not only should you use your job, right? I think it's important. You're on your job, you're 9 to 5, you're saving, then you want to go to the next level. And that's where I was able to get my business up off the ground. So by the second year of my business, I was already at 6 figures and I felt comfortable enough to leave my job because I'm like, okay, if I know how to make 6 figures within, it was less than a year, I think. But if I knew if I could do that quickly, then I could do that every single year. And I've done that every single year, since then and more, So what else? You have to get comfortable with cash money. You have to get comfortable with your business and your acumen and learning, right? Be open to learning. What I have found is that a lot of people, they're like, oh, I'm living paycheck to paycheck. But you haven't signed up for any classes or anything to learn how to make your money work for you, right? People have a lot of hard spending habits, okay? Hard. And that is one thing that I recognize. I did not have hard spending habits. A lot of people spend money emotionally, right? When something's going on or they're trying to process. That's why emotional regulation is important. And you guys, I talk about a lot of this in my Money Honey course as well as Position to Prosper. You can click the link in my bio to find out more about it. But my whole point is I was able to move forward and keep that momentum going. And to now, current day, I make more money than I don't want to say know what to do with because I know what to do with it, but it's a big amount that I'm able to not only be financially free, I'm a mom of 2 and I work when I want to work. And it still works for me. And that's something that I recommend that I want every woman to experience this, especially women of color, my Black women. Like, we deserve to have that lifestyle because other counterparts, they get to experience this lifestyle and they don't have to. And I'm just being honest. Some people, no matter what your nationality is or your ethnicity, they don't have to work as hard as I have seen, some of us that are in the Black community have had to work. So I want you to set yourself up for success. I'm going to talk more about this topic because I think it's something that needs to be deep dived into. I want to show you how I save. I want to show you how I invest. I want to give you visuals. I want to give you steps, just so you can see what it's like. But I wanted to curate a conversation around it first so that you can see where I was coming from and how I've been able to do it. So if this was helpful for you, let me know down in the comments. Share this with someone that you know wants to become more financially stable. Love you guys.